Israeli left activist converts to Islam. Israeli left-wing activist Tali Fahima, who was convicted by her own country for helping the Palestinian people, reportedly converted to Islam on Monday, 7/6, at a mosque in al-Fahm in the presence of 3 sheikhs. Sheikh Yusuf al-Baz confirmed that Fahima had indeed converted to Islam. Fahima herself refused to comment and did not want to be interviewed by the Zionist media. Fahima was found guilty in December 2005 of continuing contacts with Palestinians that Israel considered detrimental to its security and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. In particular, Fahima was found guilty of assisting the Al-Aqsa brigades, including the group's Jenin leader, Zakaria Zubaidi. She was released from prison in January 2007. The Shin Bet security service claimed that Fahima, who lived in Wadi Ara, planned to become the first Jewish terrorist of her own people. Sheikh al-Baz, a senior member of the northern branch of the Islamic movement in Israel, accompanied Fahima during her conversion to Islam. "I liked her mentality. I liked someone who prefers resistance to surrender. And Tali Fahima is an example of resistance," he said. "I told her that she should continue as she is. I also talked to her about the ways of Islam and explained that this religion is now facing all the evil forces in the world." Fahima was welcomed with open arms, Sheikh al-Baz added. "From this point on, she is a Muslim woman. There is no special ceremony." Fahima performs prayers in al-Fahm on the weekend. Tali Fahima's journey to Islam. It's been a long, strange journey for Tali Fahima. From a Likud voting legal secretary from the southern development town of Kiryat Gat, to a Palestinian rights activist in the West Bank city of Jenin, to an inmate in an Israeli prison. Now the Jewish-born Israeli has converted to the religion of Islam. News of her conversion appeared this week on the Israeli Islamic movement's website, and according to Jack Corey in Haaretz, Fahima is said to have converted at a mosque in al-Fahm in the presence of sheikhs who tested her knowledge of the principles of Islam. Afterwards, she visited the home of Sheikh Red Salah and informed him of her conversion. Fahima, a square-faced woman with distinctive eyeglasses, was never your mainstream Israeli peace activist. Unaffiliated with any group, she spontaneously decided to seek out Palestinians and ended up corresponding with Zakaria Zubaidi, the former Jenin chief of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade. They communicated on the internet and by telephone, and she visited him in a Jenin refugee camp. It was there, she said later, that her eyes were open to the fact that her freedom came at the expense of Palestinian freedom, and she was transformed into an activist, volunteering in Jenin and focusing on work with children. After hearing that Zubaidi was an assassination target, she voluntarily moved into his home to act as a human shield. Her story grabbed headlines back in 2004 when she was arrested for aiding and abetting a terrorist organization. The Israeli press reported that she and the married Zubaidi were lovers, although both of them denied ever having an affair. Because of security concerns, the precise details of all of her crimes were never publicly confirmed. But the clearest charge was that she had translated a document for Zubaidi that had been misplaced by an IDF soldier. The crimes against her carried a maximum punishment of 15 years behind bars, but plea bargain in 2005 reduced it to 3 years, and included the year she had already served in administrative detention. During that time, her imprisonment had become a cause célèbre. Her supporters said the charges were trumped up, that the authorities angry at her because she refused to become an informant, and that she was essentially a political prisoner. She served her time and was released in 2007. Her experiences pushed her away from even the furthest left of Israeli Jewish circles. Many of those who advocated for her release haven't had much to do with her in the past few years. She even had a falling out with the man she had gone to prison in order to help, as her politics became even more radical than Zubaidi's. After he negotiated with the Israeli security service to leave Jenin and go to Ramallah for eye surgery, he had been essentially imprisoned in the city under the terms of a deal with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. Fahima condemned his deal-making and called him the whore of the Shin Bet security service and a disgrace to the resistance. That was one of the few times she spoke to the press. Mostly she stays silent, living quietly in an Israeli Arab village, letting the world guess whether it was idealism, naivete, or romance that drove her transformation. Some believe she was a victim of racial and socioeconomic discrimination, that if she was a wealthy Ashkenazi activist affiliated with an organization and not a lower middle-class woman of Algerian descent acting on her own, she would have never been subjected to such harsh treatment. No matter how one views her politics, hers appears to have been a lonely journey. Maybe in Islam she will finally find contentment. Now more than ever, American Jews need independent news they can trust, with reporting driven by truth, not ideology. We serve you, not any ideological agenda. At a time when other newsrooms are closing or cutting back, The Forward has removed its paywall and invested additional resources to report on the ground from Israel and around the U.S. on the impact of the war, rising anti-Semitism, and the protests on college campuses. Leftist Tali Fahima converts to Islam. Israeli left-wing activist Tali Fahima, previously convicted of aiding Palestinian terrorists, told Ynet that she had converted to Islam on Monday at a mosque in al-Fahm in the presence of 3 sheikhs. Sheikh Yusuf al-Baz confirmed that Fahima converted. Fahima herself refused to comment, saying that she doesn't give interviews to the Zionist media. Fahima pleaded guilty in December 2005 to maintaining contacts with a foreign agent with the intention of harming state security and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. She was specifically convicted of aiding Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade's terrorists, including the group's leader in Jenin Zakaria Zubeidi, whom she had an affair with, and was released from prison in January 2007. The Shin Bet security service claimed that Fahima, who resides in Wadi Ara, planned on becoming the first Jewish terrorist to act against her own people. Sheikh al-Baz, a senior member of the northern branch of the Islamic movement in Israel, accompanied Fahima throughout the conversion process. "I liked her mentality. I like anyone who prefers resistance to capitulation, and Tali Fahima is an example of resistance," he said. The issue of Islam was discussed during the meetings between the Sheikh and Fahima. "I wanted to encourage her, and I told her that she must continue along her current path. I also spoke to her about the ways of Islam and explained that the religion stands for resistance in the face of all that is evil in the world," the Sheikh recounted. Fahima eventually informed the Sheikh that he had convinced her and told her associates that the head of the northern branch of the Islamic movement in Israel, Sheikh Raed Salah, was her model. "Salah accepted her with open arms," said Sheikh al-Baz. "From this point on, she is a full-fledged Muslim. There is no need for a special ceremony." Fahima visited Salah in al-Fahm over the weekend. The Sheikh was placed under house arrest for participating in the Gaza-bound flotilla. The Islamic movement praised Fahima's decision to convert and was quick to publish the development on its website.